All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Alckemy, and today we're gonna do a feedback. I have no idea where that came from. Hi, everybody. My name is Alckemy. Welcome to the channel. I got my coffee. I did my physical therapy. I'm pulling up YouTube right now in case if chat's already there. If I didn't say hi to anybody. Chat's already there. Ah, that's me talking. Yay. Alright, nobody's here. So, yeah. We are doing le feedbeck. And the way this goes down is if you are stuck on a tune and you don't know where to go with it, I will listen to your tune and I'll give you my thoughts on it. Sometimes I have a lot to say. Sometimes I have almost nothing to say. It's just kind of how it goes. So don't be offended if it goes either or. If I'm ripping your tune, that means that I have a lot of creative ideas. I also don't give mixed feedback. I don't know why I'm clapping while I say that. But the reason is because I... scoot in. The reason is because I can't pull up the visual tools that I would need to help explain why your snare sucks. So I might point out something small, but I don't really want to talk about like mixing. And plus that's boring. Like mixes are boring. I'm more interested in doing the creative feedback things. So it is creative feedback to where I try to think of the most creative things or suggestions, almost like just having a creative collab ear behind you, if that makes sense. And then we'll kind of see how that goes. We will see how it goes. My body's feeling okay. Every day I wake up and I'm super sore, but then I get my workout in and then I feel much better. And then I hope that Monday I'm just going to freaking kill it when I go back to the gym. Anyways, hope you all are doing well. Hi, Yoku. Hey, Elect. Hope y'all are doing well. All right, so let's see. In the queue, I think Finn is first. Let me double check. Yes. Yoku is first. And if you guys are subs, by the way, or members, I guess is what YouTube calls it, then if you're mid-tier, you get to skip the line. I think I'm going to switch that up because nobody takes advantage of it. And I think that it's kind of cool, actually. I feel like most people are like, yeah, I'll just wait for the feedback because, I don't know, I'm going to toot my own horn here, but hopefully people think that what I have to say is interesting about their tune. So, I don't know, some people just want to, like, feedback and bail, but whatever. Anyways, first time using sound design first, then downsample method. I saw you and so many other producers doing. Everything is original, using mainly Phase Plant, Cecilia 5, FL Studio 11, and Spec Ops. I want to make it ready for release, but I can't tell if it's good. I'm new to this kind of music coming from DMB noise, so any advice I would like to improve my workflow further. Oh, it's a lot. All right, let's see. How's this? Hold on, wait. Before we get started, is the volume okay? Is the playback okay? Are we having any issues with SysSound? I know that sound is coming through. That sounds good? Okay, well, let's restart, and then we'll hop right into it. Coffee. That was pretty cool, man. I really like this idea. So the effects on the kick drum are cool, but I would cut out the lows and layer it with a kick so you preserve some punch. Coffee. Okay, so yeah, I think that your biggest offender with this is that your snare is like way louder than your kick, or at least it's perceived that way. So it's like boom, da boom, boom, booksh. And I think what Finn is trying to say is that like your fundamental on your kick, like it seems like there's a lot of stereo in it. So at the very least, it might be wise to frequency split and then make sure that that's in mono. But something that I would like to see within this, like one way that you can help progress this track is a little more. Hi, man. Hey, I don't know why I read it like that. Is like you start with your snare being super open, and it might be cool to like have it be really subtle, and then when it gets to like the, I guess the B part of this tune, like it would be kind of cool if you open that up. And then once you like get past this part, I would like to see this like go somewhere else, and like don't really focus so much about like trying to do musical things. And that's really like where I run into so many freaking problems. What I would do is I would take a sound that you've already been kind of devising, that you've been conjuring, that you've been putting together. And what I would maybe try out is just picking another sound from your sound design jam and then creating a rhythm with it and then letting it take you there. Because like, even though you don't really have any musical components in this, you still have stuff that's somewhat like tonal, like the whatever that is, like it still has some kind of tonality to it, even though it's kind of like, it's not really discernible, so to speak. But if you were to take something else like that and maybe pitch that around a bit, you know, and then maybe focus on like even having a part where like you just totally break everything, because you've got some really cool fills and stuff in here, but like on one end it's really cool because you keep the tune moving. But I'd really like you to try and experiment with a section to where like you break it, like instead of boom, it's like stop, like really trying to figure out how far you can break that kind of rhythm while using the same kinds of sounds and stuff. And I have a bad habit of like doing like stutters and stuff and like kind of doing the same thing as you do of like keeping the tune going. But something that I've been trying to do with IDM is really like creating these different, fitting these different polyrhythms of almost different time signatures in some cases, but within a 4/4. And where it like catches back up, because that's where you get like that really crazy like, whoa, what the hell is happening? But yeah, I think this idea is cool. I also think that I also wonder, like, are there bass frequencies? Are there bass frequencies in that sound, or is that a mid sound? But the only reason why, like, you don't even have to answer that, but one thing that seems kind of off to me is it seems like there's some stereo on the low end. And it feels like it kind of breaks the sound in some cases, and I'm not really sure, but that would just be something to be mindful of. But yeah, dude, this is a cool tune. I can't answer these kinds of questions though. That's hard, right? There are some things that are really obvious and stuff, but whenever you're doing like really experimental things like this, like it's just kind of, you just got to either decide to put it out or don't put it out. You know what I mean? And I mean that in a good way, not in the sense of like it's not good or bad, but in the sense of like you're doing something different, and that's kind of like you. That's you being like, is this the kind of artist, or like is this the kind of music that represents me as an artist? Wait, is this the kind of music? Yeah, is this the kind of music that represents me as an artist? So that's really what I would kind of consider with that one. Good stuff though, man. Good to hear some different tunas. Okay. Finn, you are next. v.mp3. Wait, did you submit something different? Okay, no. All right. This was cool, man. One thing that kind of jumped out at me was that it seems like throughout the tune there's some clicks that are happening, and I'm not really sure if that's me tripping, because I don't really trip balls like that. But yeah, it might be your kick. Your kick might be super clicky dicky, and sorry, you're clicky clicky. I think that on one end it does punch through the mix, but on the other end, like it also feels weak. It almost feels just like it's stopping in that sense, and like it feels like you might have cut your kick just a little bit too hard, and then you push the transient just a little bit too hard. And the reason why I say that is especially apparent because in this end right here, you almost feel like there's a frequency gap whenever you're listening to your guitar bass and then your kick. Yeah. And so, oh, okay. So now I hear it. You've also got this other little layer that is like, I'm not really sure if it's a delay, but it's like a, or a Foley layer or something. And I feel like that's kind of clashing with your, like with your main drums. So I would give maybe just a little bit more weight on the low end to that kick in particular, but you know, but that's kind of your call. So something else that I feel like could use a little bit of work is actually the transition that you have here. I think that the buildup that you have is really cool, but once the guitar comes in, I would actually pull all of the other instruments away, or maybe low pass filter them, and then maybe bring the kick in by itself with the bass. So it's like boom doom ba doom ba doom ba doom ding ding boom dee ba doom bow boom bow. I will cut out the lows on that layer. On which layer? No, I was saying on your kick layer, I feel like you cut too many lows of your kick. The layer clashing with the kick. Well, even still, I think that if you were to pull your kick back just a little bit and then sidechain whatever that other layer is to your kick, I think that would probably fix your problem. But right now, like your kick literally just sounds like, and that's fine if that's what you're going for, but to me, I feel like it makes the track sound a little bit more empty. And if you are going to have that, then maybe you might want to try supporting your guitar bass with an actual sub and see how that works for you. But I'm just giving you my thoughts, giving you my thoughts. There was something else I wanted to tell you too. This sounds really good. Okay, and something else that could be cool too is like, and you might not want to do this, but you might want to do this. I do have sub on the bass. You actually have like a sub layer. I'm saying like maybe even more because in any case. So one thing that you might want to do too is like you have these cool little fills. Hey Dan. Okay, so no, right? So I think that maybe I can't tell because I'm of the speakers or whatever, but okay, and it still feels thin. But so those moments right there, you can take that and like you can like stop all the rest of the music and have something reverse into that, because those little fill moments right there like kind of help emphasize the groove. And what you can also do is use that as a small mini transition to help add another layer to this part. So let's say you were just going to do like a reverse sample into the, and then you stop the beat, and then when you pick it back up, you add a ride or something. And then something else I hear right here too, because you have that gated trance pad, is that maybe every once in a while you might want to reverse that, like you might want to reverse that chord. Right? So I know that sounds like I'm butchering your tune, but that's just because I can't sing. But I think that would also be really nice. And what you could even do is use a mid-side EQ to where like that pad only comes in out on the sides, and that way you can leave that lead in the middle, and that way that will take care of your mixing you're mixing potential issues. But yeah, this is cool. I like the idea. That's what I would do for this tune in particular. Okay, Michael, you are next. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. This is for a beat contest. I'm gonna listen to this, but why don't you tell us about this content or this contest? Unless if it's secret, because he's working on a contest too, I guess. Also, if remix contest, okay, my brother. God, I'm so picky. I'm so sorry. So if it's not copyrighted, then I'll let it slide. But my friends, y'all gotta read, homies. You gotta read. All right, hold on. Now, the reason why is because the thing that I worry about is copyrighted material. No, dude, you're totally cool. I'm just like it's nothing nothing personal taken. But the reason why is because I just worry about copyrighted material. I've been copyright flagged almost every single feedback stream, and I haven't gotten a strike yet. But I don't want to get a strike, so I'm just trying to whittle down of MSVE's track. Okay, well if it's like out and it's like on Spotify or something, then that's a no-go for me. But that's why, is because every single tune, like if you guys look at my thing, like I always get copyrighted, and I'm like, fuck, man, like I'm trying to figure out how I can still continue to do this without like getting my channel in trouble, if that makes sense. Because I'm sorry, as much as I would like to listen to your tune, it's not worth like putting it at risk for that matter. Does that make sense? Sorry, I'm not trying to be a jerk, and I definitely want to listen to your tune. But I can say, like, if it is something like that, where like it has like an official release or whatever, then you can put it in Discord feedback and say, hey, I wanted to submit this for Thursday, but it's got copyrighted material. Because I still want to make sure that like, I don't want to take that away from your creative outlet, right? I don't want to pigeonhole you being like, you got to do this, but that's why. But that's why. So do me a favor, put this in Discord feedback, and then I'll take a look at it after stream, okay? But that's what I always do for people that do stuff like this. This sounds like Sephiroth's theme. He's your head, stepping on the beach. Step up in the street, see what he do to you, down, hit my bass, go boom. I feel like that 808 could be more distorted though. I think it needs more of that. Okay, so I think the idea is really cool. So some of the things that, or like the overall theme that I have for this is like elaboration on the stuff that you already have. So for example, I do like the sample that you have, but it kind of just stays there. And so like something I was thinking about before you start the beat is like you can actually cut all the reverb and then go do like a chopped like dun 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 dun, but you pan out each one from left to right before it kind of works its way back to mono. So bum 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 left right, or like left middle, or right middle, something like that, right? So where it kind of like flashes out that way, because that will kind of like catch the ear and like make everything seem a lot more exciting in that way. There was also something at like 42 that I had an idea for. Maybe not. Maybe it was 142. I think you use this neuro bass too often and impresses for the first time, but not for the second. Well, I was gonna say that for this in particular, like I think that like the mid synth is fine, but I think that you should take out all of the other elements that you have, or maybe even change the rhythm. Like, so like what you can also do is like you can break this into two different sections. Like it is two different sections, but you can actually have something right there to where you have like a crash, and then the sample that you're playing changes to where it's like bum 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 bum. And then what that will do is like you can kind of like filter that in or something, or just like have the beat stop for a second, and then when it picks up you can like slowly start to introduce that neuro bass to make it seem like it's coming in. And then whenever that kind of goes, you can kind of bring in that really big mid synth. And then what I would do is maybe like push everything else out to the side, because like that synth is so loud. But I also think that like there's more that you could do with it, because like to me that's not a neuro bass. That's like, this is more of like a growl based lead. But I was thinking that like in some cases like you can have some kind of, I guess, like fills that alternate or change up the sound, not the sound, but maybe the rhythm of it in such a way. Like right here, let me see. Sorry, I'm listening for it. Okay, I didn't hear it this time, but like maybe for one of those fills, you can do kind of like an auto pan fill to where it's like I think would be really cool. But part of the problem why this is kind of like feeling like it's kind of odd is, one is because I think that it's actually something, it has something to do with your percussion, and it also has something to do with the spaces that you filled while leaving emptiness, right? Because you're having like a berm empty and you're waiting for that to be filled in such a way. And I think that you're on the right track, because you're trying to make sure that you have space in there. That way you're not just blasting somebody with sound. But at the same time, the call and response that you have makes it kind of feel like there's that emptiness that like doesn't really, you know what I mean? That leaves something to be desired in that sense. So like it might be really cool for you to kind of have the idea that I was talking about, where this kind of comes up, but then take off all of the like crashes and percussion and stuff, and just go like sorry, not those mini kicks. Like maybe simplify the call and response first, and then all those other cool little fills that you have, maybe have it like A, B, A, C, A, D even. But that will kind of give you a little bit more of a familiar thing, because right now, like you do have an A-B, but the call and response is really long. So make that like half as long, or try to make that half as long, if that makes sense. These acapella examples are amazing. I don't know if you're new to the channel or not. Welcome on still, but I do a lot of beatboxing, and I'm not saying that I'm good at it. It's just get used to it, because I do that a lot. But yeah, other than that, I think that like the idea is really cool. I just think that you can use some embellishment for the sample for one, but also just kind of tidying up like the call and response aspect to that, of like you're getting ready to introduce like a big ass synth, right? So like give somebody some kind of intro to that character. Give them something of like, oh man, this thing is getting ready to come, and then it's just like, and you know, then when you let them have it, it's gonna be like, oh shit, you know, and everyone has like the stink face or whatever. Breath, something of the sort. But yeah, dude, thank you for submitting. Hopefully that was something interesting to do. Okay, Elect, we are gonna skip your tune, but not because I don't like you. but because I'm going to take a look at it later, okay? If you have something else that you're working on that's not... Yeah, I'm over from Aspect Server. I went back to the beer down you did of his track and thought to see what you were up to. Hope you're well, man. Yo, big ups, Aspect. Hope he's doing well. I haven't talked to him in a really long time, but thank you for stopping by and saying hello. Appreciate it, man. All right. So I have not forgotten about you, okay? You are not forgotten. Unknown David, you're next. Hey, NX is good, man. Oh, fuck yeah. This is so sick. I gotta rewind this. Yo, this is awesome. Speed Garage, man, I love that shit. This totally reminds me of like RDS. This was awesome, man. The only thing that I could really say is the mix is obviously a little bit rough, but I don't know. I know that like this type of music has like soulful vocals like that, but some of those weren't really working for me. Your whole aesthetic is hilarious. Yeah, it really is, because like it's memes, but like you think like it has such a good preface to it, because it's still relative to what you're getting ready to hear, but at the same time, like it's, I don't know how to say that, but yeah, we're a fan of your music. But what I was gonna say is that like the only thing that I really have with this dude is just like some of the vocals. I'm like, those are all fine. That one, and then also the that one doesn't really work for me in that sense. And I think that the placement of it is fine, but just those vocals in particular, and it might be because they seem a little bit out of key or something, but I don't know. It to me, it kind of takes away from the vibe in particular. But other than that, dude, like I honestly, yeah, like make it twice as long. And maybe what I would do is like, if you don't know where to go with this, is take whatever chord progression you have, the boop 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 boop, and maybe pick like either 2 or 3 of those chords, and play a sustained version when you get to here, and then keep the hat. So, right, I can't make multiple voices at the same time, but I think you know what I'm talking about. And then that can take you back into like really just getting back into here as well. And something that I would like to hear, maybe that you might already kind of be aligning with, is I would like to hear some kind of like stick shuffle. So that could be something that you can do for the next section after, or maybe just like in little small places. But I don't know if that's what you're going for, if you're just going more for like a housey type thing, because that really kind of, right, that's like one of the defining factors between garage and house music in general is the stick hit. It's all about the stick and the triplets. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have for this one, man. I'm sorry I don't have more, but that means that I like it. It's really cool. Good stuff. Okay. We have Andy, then we have Hexa Soul Snatcher, and then we've got Fatal Slap. And then we've got Snart, and then we've got Fast Forward. Okay. Thanks for the idea with the shuffle. Yeah. Sure thing. Sure thing. In a world full of tacos, one man, one journey. Yeah, I think in some cases it's really cool, and I like the idea. I think you're on the right track with the stereo aspect of it. Of course, in a mono system, you're going to break it, but whatever, you're doing it for you, right? But one thing to keep in mind is that whenever you're applying distortion and stuff, it kind of needs to like fit a specific purpose, and like you kind of want everything, not just specific elements. Like you kind of want the overall aesthetic of the tune to have that kind of distortion in general. One big thing that I think that you can do to add more like interest to the tune is to elaborate on that melody that you have. I was playing on the guitar, and luckily it's pretty simple, so I could find it. But right now you've got just this sound where it's like, sorry, sorry. And I think that if you had some kind of higher note or something that was kind of related to that, maybe even something more simple like, sorry. You know, something really simple in that sense could really go a long way for that kind of elaboration, because right now that little motif that you have just feels kind of stuck. And it kind of like right now, like you even have a lot of empty spaces and stuff. So that's kind of what I would be looking for whenever you get into those kinds of ideas. Now, regarding like the distortion and stuff, like it's not to say that the distortion and like the bass aren't interesting, but I think that it doesn't fill up enough of the frequency range to make it feel like it's full. Because right now you've got a lot of stuff that's just the sub where it feels kind of like empty in that sense. So like even during those little sections right there, like you can even think about adding more distorted like percussion that's high pass, so that way you have a little bit of stuff up in that sense. There is a couple moments through this tune where your distortion is actually breaking the entire tune. Like that. But if you are going to go this route of where like you have, like it feels like your kick is on the left and your snare is on the right and stuff, like try to find other elements that you can do. And maybe what you can even try is to have other background elements that are taking up the middle section, if that makes sense. And I think that is something that could be really useful to you, or something that can kind of help you fill out that idea. And it doesn't have to be anything like that's like immediately like super dummy thick, but it can be little things of like that help you pay attention to have something in with that middle signal. Because right now it feels like you're only focused on the panning aspect, and maybe that's why the middle does feel empty. And it doesn't have to be drums. It could be anything, but that's maybe somewhere that I would try to look at for taking that. Not sure if submissions are closed, but I posted something. No, submissions are open. I've only been live for like 40 minutes. I only do one submission per day. Yoku, sorry. But yeah, that was definitely cool, and I would definitely maybe elaborate on that riff too, because right now just that dun, dun, like it's almost begging to have some kind of answer to it. Yeah, so that's what I would do for that one. All right, Snart, just so you know, if your remix has copyrighted material in it, I am not going to play it. Yoink. Just because I don't want to get copyrighted again on YouTube. If you scroll back like 20 minutes ago, I get copyrighted almost every single time I do this, and I'm trying not to jeopardize the channel. So it's not that I don't want to listen to your tune, it's just that that's why. But what you can do is you can post on Discord feedback and tag me in it and say, hey, I wanted to submit this for Thursday, but XYZ, and then I'll take a look at it, okay? I got nothing tonight. I've had writer's block. We'll throw something together and beat it. We'll beat it together, bro. Nah, don't worry, it's a meme. Well, still, you know, like, that's why I'm here, is to listen to your guys' music, you know? So I hate the idea of having to have this specific criteria, but I'll still listen to you. If you're here taking your time to be in my channel, like, I want to make sure that's honored, you know? Because I appreciate anybody that you could easily be somewhere else right now. So I will, if you want to post that in Discord feedback and tag me in it, then I'll take the time and listen to it, okay? I feel like the mix is a little off, and maybe just listen to it too many times. I mean, it's with the goal of a good mix more than a good beat, to be honest. Okay. Do you get feedback on lyrics vocal mixing? Depends. Probably not vocal mixing, but maybe just like general stuff. I'm not gonna write your lyrics for you. Nah, dog, I'm not your ghostwriter. You can't come in here and get some free rhymes. Go outside? Wait, what? Was just curious. Sorry, I had to switch over to... Okay, we're good. Let's keep going. Hexasoul Snatcher. You could be anywhere else. Yes, yes, true. Just the first part, LC. Just the first part. Slapping chickens is animal abuse, so don't do that. Yeah, this is cool. Your clap and your snare stick out like a sore thumb. As far as mixing goes, that's the only thing I can say. And really, like, I had one more piece of advice that I thought would be kind of cool for this. This is my song, haha, thank y'all. I was so nervous. Don't be nervous, man. Have you listened to the stuff that I've been producing on stream lately? It's terrible, but whatever. Sometimes that happens. Yeah, you've got this really cool little section right here with this hi-hat, and I would like to actually hear that if you put like a Haas effect on it, or if you had another hat that was replacing it as a shuffle instead. Let me see, I think right. Yeah, right there. Because if you did that and you had like a on both sides, like that would be so freaking cool if you had like more of a stereo image in that sense. And I know that like your bass is really huge, but it's still high enough in the frequency range that I think you can get away with it. I think that you can do that. I think that it'll be pretty cool. I would try it, give it a shot, see if you like it or not. Yeah, but your kicks and your claps and your snares are what's off to me, and I think because you're not cutting enough, and because they're too loud. Yeah. Are they panned? Yeah, something's not right with that. And then also your clap is just like your clap feels like somebody is like right next to your ear going kind of like that, and it's just like but other than that, I think that everything else is pretty cool. I would like to see, like, you have this really cool like type of ambience that you do with that, and I would like to hear maybe like some fills that kind of draw into that ambience, because right now like this bass that you have is really big and open, and I would like to see what you can do maybe if you combined like on a fill or something a low pass and a notch filter to where it's like row or something like that, because that would kind of fit the aesthetic, but it would also create more interest within like this little piece that you have. But I will say, somebody said, who said that? Flow is great from Wireframe Wolves. I definitely agree with that. But I think that having that kind of thing in there would be really cool, because that's a way that you can kind of play with dynamics and stuff. The mix is pretty okay, but I guess like when you're starting to finish things up, like I would just look up what a crest factor is, but look at all this stuff, peaky, and what you want to do is kind of smush it and make it somewhat more flat. And that doesn't necessarily have to be in the mastering stage, but if you put a clipper on everything, that would kind of help control that a little bit more. But as far as like the frequency content and stuff, I think it's pretty good. Maybe like you can be maybe some things to be aware of too is like when you do those cool fills and stuff like that too, like be aware of like what is playing over that at the same time, because for me, I would think that I would want to kind of like try to take away most elements whenever this is playing. Thanks so much for the feedback. You're welcome, Andy. Like whenever this is playing, like you've got the no, right? Maybe what I would try to focus on is like taking the other elements or maybe putting those in the background to let the toms play back, and then that will kind of like reset the rhythm to make things hit a little bit harder. Like highlighting transitions is, and that's probably going to be the most biased thing that I tell anybody in my channel is like, and that's the thing that I love to do. Probably like as much as I like making neurobasses and stuff, is like whenever you do a fill or you do a transition, of making that transition feel as big as possible, because whatever comes next after that is going to be that much more interesting, because it's like, whoa, what the hell is happening, and then it goes into something else. So it's a great tool to capture somebody's attention. So try to focus on that in that sense, or you don't have to, but that's what I would recommend. But yeah, I think the idea is pretty solid. Maybe focus on like, once this kind of goes out, focus on bringing this back, but do it in a different way. So like duplicate and variate in some case or another. Sorry, I just wanted to listen to that part really quick. Yeah, so maybe what you can even do on this part is just change the rhythm up. So or really just like go ham with the transients on that sense, and that could be kind of sick. But I mean, it sounds like you know how to do that, so that's really the only thing that I would lead in, is just figure out a way to kind of build back up, and then take this section, pull it over there, and start moving the parts around, and you've pretty much got everything except for your outro. Yeah, good stuff. Ocelot, you are next. Yo, Alchemy and Squad currently experiencing a massive creative block, and just randomly I threw together this lo-fi track in a couple of hours. It still needs a lot of work, but it would be dope to hear what y'all think of this. Thanks again. Much love. I'm saving this song for a small EP project if y'all want to follow. I'm so open to collabs. That's okay. Hey, Lapidus, what's good, man? I really like that little motif right there. That little thing makes that entire tune super catchy. I mean, everything sounds really good, but that part in general. Honestly, dog, I don't really have anything. This sounds really good. I think that it's pretty much donezo. I don't really have anything else that I would add. I would just maybe throw a limiter on it, turn it up, and then turn up. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I think that this was really cool, and I think that like beat block is all a perspective, you know. But do you think the arrangement is repetitive? It's lo-fi. It's lo-fi. It's lo-fi. What is it? It's supposed to be repetitive. But to answer your question, yes, but it's repetitive in a good way. It's repetitive in the way that it becomes like part of the like the three parts of music in general, at least how I had when I had rhythm sticks when I was in fucking second grade. You know, the little blue sticks, and everybody's like, hey, Meta, I'm sorry I didn't say hi to you. I read it and I didn't say hi because it was in the middle of someone else's tune, but I did see you. Hello. Yeah, the fucking rhythm sticks, right? Okay, everybody, follow along. Boots and cats. Three components to music: rhyme, rhythm, and repetition. Now you got to have something like, to me, like, because we're making mostly instrumental music, the way that I think of this is like embodying that first one of rhyming, of like creating a theme, something that has matching parts, right? So within that, though, one of the biggest things is like you have to have some kind of repetition. You've got the rhythm aspect to it, but like that's what makes stuff memorable. And that's why a lot of people tell me that my music, that or the most recent music that I've come out with, is not memorable because it's very abstract in that way, and that's totally fine. I'm more so like incorporating giving somebody an experience or something, but that little melody that you just played in that is already stuck in my head, and that's a positive thing, at least in my opinion, because that's something that will make you want to come back to it when you remember it, right? So I wouldn't really worry about that in that sense. Now, whenever you're trying to do something on a grander scale, like whenever you're trying to have something that like has more, how do I say, like a lot of different parts and all that, then there's something to be said about that for wanting to not be too repetitive or whatever. But like there's still like a fundamental principle that, you know what I mean, that if you do it and you pull it off right, then that can be a good thing. Yeah. So that's what I got for that, man. I don't really have any advice, to be honest. I think that, like, really, like I said, just put a limiter on it and turn it up and then put it out and enjoy it. Sometimes you have ambition to make really big projects. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes you have the ambition to just make something that is kind of chill. And for me, that's kind of where I've been at lately, is I like to just create concepts and stuff, and it's very detrimental as far as quote unquote finishing music, but at the same time I've made a lot of freaking music over time, like over the past year. Even I've started a bunch of projects, I've started all this stuff or whatever, and even though nothing has been that interesting to be like I want to take it somewhere else, there's still the idea there. And that's why lo-fi is so great, is because you literally take one idea and put it on loop, and then it becomes something that is very easy to listen to, very easy to come back to, and it makes you want to just, you know what I mean, like stay with it for a while. And that's like the beauty of like quote unquote lo-fi in general. I couldn't figure out why some lo-fi beats are so fire and some are annoying, but both are super repetitive. And watching Timbaland talking about this, it just clicked. A super fire groove needs basically nothing else, and tiny variation, if any. That's like saying, that's like saying, yo, like that's not very helpful though, because that's just like, yeah, the difference between like a good beat and a bad beat is a good beat is really good and a bad beat is annoying, right? I mean, I get what you were saying, but at the same time, I would encourage you to dig a little bit deeper. I have the answer for you, but I'm not going to give it to you, because I'm a jerk. So keep searching, keep searching. Thank you. Your outlook is really inspiring, man. Yeah, for sure, dude. Timbaland really put it in perspective, though. Like a lot of old school hip hop producers use simple elements. Okay. So Snart, unfortunately, that's a remix. Oh, and it's from Slipknot. Okay, yeah. Throw that in Discord feedback, and I'll take a look at it. What I mean is the groove, bruh. It goes deeper than that. There's more to it. But I will take a listen to this, okay? Off stream, and I'll tag you whenever I get to it. Okay, fast forward. You are next. Then we have Polly. Then we have, how do I say this name? I don't want to butcher it. Yo, Axel, long time no see. Hey, Two Tokes, long time no see. Unless if I'm confusing you. I don't know, music is fun to make. I try not to think too much. Like, yeah, the groove is the groove. If it's good and it can be more repetitive. It's cool if instead I just replace the... Yeah, that's fine. You just want to... If you have another work in progress, that's totally fine. I'll wait for you, too, if you want. I'll wait for you. I will wait for you. Okay, I'm running out of breath. Come on. Oh, go. Okay, I'll come back to you. Just post here when you're ready, and then I'll click on it. Okay. That's really dope. That Atmos sax. Yeah, I think like the atmospheric stuff that you have in here is really nice. I would definitely say that the biggest thing that I've noticed is that you've got a beat in there that comes around every once in a while that is super off. It's like a late snare and it's like, and that kind of throws off the whole vibe. I think that it would be kind of cool if you started with kind of like the lo-fi-ish type drums and then you went on to something that was more of like a retro like 80s 909 kick or something, where it kind of drives on with that bass line that you have, because you kind of are already playing along that aesthetic that's kind of like it's ambient, and then it goes into something that's a little bit like that. But the biggest thing, if you don't do anything, is that kick in there. I think that you can also simplify. Is this a feedback sesh? If so, how do we submit? Discord? Read the description, fam. But what's it called? Yeah, like you've got like these like certain parts in here that have these like kick, snare, fill things, and that kind of doesn't really play along to the aesthetic that you're making through the track. And if you're going to do that, then set it up in such a way that's going to have like a reverse sample and then like break the whole thing. But you've got these elements that are trying to like keep going and stuff, but it's almost like when you and don't take this personal, but like when you do that, it's almost like somebody is trying to keep time or whatever, and then like they feel it for a second and then they're like right. And like I'm assuming by your description that you'll say you only take whips. I've got a song that is finished, but I'd like to know how I can improve it anyway. Otherwise, I've also got, yeah, only submit a whip, please. I only do work in progresses. No released tunes. Like I said, it's all about copyright. And the other thing too is like if you submit a tune that's done, then just because you would like to know what you can improve, you're not going to go back and improve that song. Like this is designed for you to help you get over your beat block. So if you are working on something and you're stuck and you don't know where to go, that's the purpose of this stream, just to like be concise of what it's intended for. So yeah, it's almost like somebody feels it for a second and they feel like doing a fill, but then they kind of lose it, and then they're like, or they're inconfident like with their drumming skills or whatever. So I think that like just keeping it simple whenever you do that, and also like your elaboration is at like the beginning or the middle of your sections, and that's why it seems kind of off. Like if you were to do that elaboration as a turnaround, like at the end of an 8-bar section, it would make more sense. But you're doing like these like drum things that kind of then I don't want to take any of those time. The only thing I would submit are either finished or just joke files that I made. Didn't you just say that you have a work in progress? I've got a song that is finished, but otherwise I've also got a whip or whatever. Yeah, you just submit a whip. Yeah, so I think that just by fixing the drums and stuff, but I mean, there's a lot of stuff that you can do, right? Because right now you kind of have everything just playing for the whole. That's okay. You can still send it in if you want. Maybe we can talk about how to make it more memey. But as opposed to just kind of having everything play through the entirety of the track, like you can pull elements away and like you can focus on other like. All right, let me focus on the feedback for a second, and then I'll talk to chat. Like for this particular part, right, you can take away some of the elements of like the ambience or that loop that you've created and like focus on creating something that's more where you're paying attention to the bass, or have like stop the drums and kind of filter everything in, and that just goes into song arrangement, because like it's technically done in the sense of like there's a beginning, middle, and end. But in between here, like you can really dive in and start to focus on like how you can do more subtle changes in order to give it kind of like a sense of flow and make it not sound like the part that you just listened to. If that's what you're going for, like if you want to just make it kind of like a jam out loop or whatever, that's totally fine too. But I would say like maybe in the beginning, like you start with kind of like the lo-fi drums, like maybe in the beginning, and then you go into something that's a little bit more hard hitting without all the other stuff, with just the bass, to where it's just like a driving kick, like and then maybe like as a bridge or something, you can bring back those drums that you have. But the biggest thing, like I said before, is just making sure that you clean the rhythm up with that, because like I said, like even in the beginning you can kind of tell that it stutters. Wait. You hear that? So that is killing the whole vibe of this tune because it's consistent throughout the entirety of the track. So maybe having something to where it's just like, so simplifying that to just like a kick snare thing, and then like maybe as a fill or something you can focus on like doing some kind of like lo-fi breakbeat thing or whatever. But that would just be my suggestion for that. Yeah. Breath. Okay. So Snar was technically next because he's up here, so we're gonna listen to their tune, lovesong.mp3. Ah! Holy shit, that was definitely worth listening to. I think you should take this further. The stereo processing that you did is pretty nuts. Rip speakers, rip my ear, damn, sorry. Did I miss my track? No, you didn't. Snart posted up here, so that's why we're listening to it now. Yeah, I'd like to see you do more with this. Like, this might actually be really cool if you started with this as an intro and then actually went into something more serious. Sorry for the question without reading the info. You're fine. Just wait, we're over here. But yeah, this is actually really, the stream audio genuinely clipped. Well, I should. It's my funeral, right? But yeah, that was pretty insane. Like, it would actually be cool if like you took this whole idea and then actually went into something that was a little bit more clean. But like the way that this kind of trips out is actually pretty cool. I think this would be a really good intro. Obviously, like you would have to control the dynamics within it to make it actually listenable and not make people go deaf. But yeah, I'm glad you submitted something. Yeah, for sure. Okay, sorry, just reading all that stuff. Okay, that was sick. Wait, where are we? We're on Polly. Polly's next. I 4-4 what it is already. Yeah, like Elon Moore style mono stereo explosion stuff. In theory, it's awesome, but in practice, I just used it to make the song, but more. You're right, though. That stuff works. Yeah, I'm no stranger to Elon Moore, so I think that like and then like actually using that, like let's say you actually take like an element of that and then like you use that as a theme, right? So like whenever that kind of blows up, you can kind of like slow that down and then go into something that's like and you can use that mono to stereo type thing in that sense and actually create something that is like trippy, but then goes into something that's hella dark, and it feels hella dark because it's so like weird and we're not used to it. So like if that's an aesthetic that you're interested in building, like I would definitely recommend like trying to take things that way, because that could be really cool. Polly, you're next. Whoa, what just happened? Solid beatboxing. Thanks, dude. Cruising down the block in my 6'4". Yeah, that was cool. I think that some of your transitions are out of time. Like right here, I noticed it. Um, I don't know what that was, but some stuff like that kind of felt off. But I kind of like how like it comes back to this main theme that you have. But maybe one thing that I would consider looking at is changing the drums as your call and response. So maybe you've got boom 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 boom, and then for like whatever other like part that you have, you can do like some maybe like old school drum break or something like boom 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 boom. I think that would be pretty sick. I don't know how easy or difficult that is to do because I know that you're only on hardware, but I think that really is just a matter of, yeah, submissions are still open. But I think that it's just a matter of like kind of cleaning up those transitions in between that you have, right? Because right now I see what you're going for, but it's just a little bit like rough around the edges, for lack of a better description. But I think that, yeah, I definitely like that idea of like, you know, you've got this idea and then it goes into something else. And then I played it with an amen over it, but decided against it. Well, it doesn't have to be an amen. I mean, for me, like, I don't know. I feel like that would fit, but if you've already tried it and it didn't work, maybe a different kind of drum beat, or maybe like a different kind of 808 kick, or like a different kind of 808 drum set or something. Just something that to kind of like signify the contrast in between. And the reason why is because I like this idea that you have in between, but the fact that the drum beat stays the same kind of like I feel like pulls it away from making it have that impact. And maybe something else to consider too is that it might not even just be the drums themselves. It might be that the beat itself never changes. The beat is like super consistent. So like I think that if you're wanting to really pull that as much as possible, then like there's some other tools or something that you can use. And it can be like different mixing too. Like maybe you use the same drums and you do it with a filter. Maybe you add in some other element of distortion, but just something more to make those two parts kind of contrast, I think would be really helpful for that. But other than that, I would say like just clean up your transitions, and I think the idea is pretty cool.
Gonna fucking sting it!
Right, like even right there, the boop 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 boop. Like you can even throw a filter over your drums right there, and then just kind of have that kind of quiet right there, and then lead it back into that main part. You know what I mean? So like just something to think about. How do you make that call and response a little bit more, make the difference between it more drastic? But really like that kind of theme is kind of littered throughout this entire tune, and that would be like what I would look at the most, because other than that, like it's, you know what I mean? It's a cool trap beat or whatever. But I like it. It's cool. And then try to make sure that everything is in time, because it feels like some stuff is kind of off. But yeah, dude, cool tune. All right, you are next. Some intro and first drop idea. Oh, it's Indigo. What's up, dude? You're welcome, bro. that was pretty cool. I think that you can take out this part of the intro and just start it right there, or maybe take this part and put it right there. But I think it was twice as long as it needed to be. And then as far as like the sound design of this is really cool, but I think that it gets too busy with your mids, because you introduce that new idea really soon. I think erosion plus OTT, just a ring mod would probably do. Just use a ring mod and then use stereo spread. It'll be fine. But you have that bum bum bum. Like, I think that noise or that sound on its own, that little melody, should be its own thing. OTT adds a lot of 100 hertz. Yeah, like I think even that would just be enough. I think that like if that was like the main riff of the tune, then I think that would be pretty cool. And then maybe if you had that bum bum bum, like as a fill or something, that would kind of fit within the tune a lot better. But this tune kind of like, I feel like you're giving us way too much, and I think that if you had a little bit more restraint on it, then it would actually fit the groove a lot nicer. But right now, like I'm really just trying to get into the groove aspect of it, but because you've got so much mid things happening, like especially so soon and so early in the tune, it kind of takes away from some of those ideas. It's not to say that they don't fit the track in particular, but it's just the placement that it is that kind of like makes it feel like that little riff, that little thing that we just listened to right there, if that was the first half of your tune, I actually think that would be more than substantial for like making this go. I don't really think that you need to have all of that other elaboration on it. Like maybe what I would do as a B section instead is I would have that highlighted on its own. So boom 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 boom, and maybe what I would do is see if you can add the sub back into that, and then have that play along with that noise base that you have. So that way they're taking turns. But because that noise is so loud and over the top, and it could be a mixing thing too, it kind of starts to take away as you go further in. Like, and still too, like it's almost like you had a bunch of ideas for this drop, and then like you kind of just like put them all together. But even if like right here, you took all of those mids away, and then you turned the noise bass down, so like you just had the sub, and then you turned that like that kind of like triplet rhythm up and made that more present in the mix, like that would be super sick too. So I think that you've got like more than enough to work with. It's just a matter of pulling some of those elements back. And the noise is a bit loud. No, I think the noise is fine. I think it's more so about how loud the square is. Bum bum bum. Like that's too loud for me. That's too prominent for me. But yeah, like even if you were to just pull all those other elements away, or put a low pass filter on those, and then really turn up that, or really try to bring that whatever this is right here, and kind of bring that up, and then kind of focus on the pad that's in the background, like that would also be really cool. So like you've got, like I said, you've got all these ideas that you kind of crammed into one, and I don't think that you need as many. And I would also argue that, I guess like in comparison, like your mids are seemingly like way higher or way louder than your drums. That could just be me, but I'm not sure. Let me sit on that a bit. But something seems a little bit out of balance in that case. But yeah, dude, this is really cool. This is if you made the second response bases more complex as they go, that would be Sauce Boss. What? But yeah, man, this is a really cool tune. I would just maybe pull back on some of those elements and like take turns with letting them play. Yeah, I agree, and I feel like the drums could be a bit tighter and hit a little bit louder. Yeah, but still, really cool tune, man. Thank you for sharing. I really enjoyed that. Okay, Axel, you are next. Started this yesterday and always get clueless on how to work on bass for tracks like this. Does it even need bass? Thank you a lot for the feedback, man. Really helpful. Yeah, dude, for sure. Well, good to see you. It's been a while. That was pretty cool, man. I think that like the big thing that makes it seem weird to you is that that chord that you have is the only dry signal that you have on the entire tune. So you've got this like really kind of like ghostly na 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 na, and then like even the percussion in the background and stuff is really like wet. But that one specific sound that you have on that bump, bump, bump is really dry, and that kind of sticks out. Like it doesn't. I'm not gonna say that it doesn't fit, but the way that you have it isn't quite working with me quite yet. But I think that just having the tail on the kick is more than enough. But something that you can experiment with is maybe like kind of starting out with everything being like really wet and stuff. And then like once you get to that second part, like you actually added a little bit more than I thought you would, because I would have probably, once you get to there, then you can have a nice easy like noise sweep transition or something, and then bring all the elements up front and then focus more so on putting percussion into the thing. So like having more clicks and pops. So like something kind of like that I think would be really cool. And then I think that like if you added in some kind of like something that was reminiscent of, how do you say, like steam or something, I think that would be a really cool way to kind of like progress the track even further. Like a double time? Yeah. Yeah. Like it's there. It's there. Like you heard it, right? But those are only on like fills and stuff. So like adding more elements of that are a little bit more dry, and maybe just like clinks and clanks and stuff could probably be really cool to kind of make that whole thing seem like it's, like I said, like kind of just progressing the tune forward. And then maybe what you can do is like have like just one rhythmic tonal thing, kind of like a what is it called, like a radar, right? Like a boop 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 over in the background that kind of just pans out. And that would actually be really sick if you put a Doppler effect on that, so that way it kind of fades out over time. Yeah, that'd be dope. But yeah, I don't think that you need to add another bass to it. If anything, you can just maybe saturate the low end of that kick in general, or maybe you can even automate the saturation so the kick is clean, and then like you have a little bit more over time as like you have that tail, because that like there's already a sub in that to me, and even though the sub is high, it is kind of filling out the low end in a way that I actually like. But yeah, if you want to add bass to it, then I would shorten the kick. But even like for this, like the kind of bass that I would add would just be a pitch drop, like a poof, something that had that kind of sustain in that way. But I don't really think that you need it because it's kind of already there. But yeah, dude, this was really cool. Thank you for submitting that. It's good to see you, man. All right, I just got started on the intro, the mixdown / any suggestions. What are those? That was pretty sick. I agree with the intro, but the overall kind of, how do I say? I think like the big theme about this whole thing is that I think that the drums. I think that Doug has bad intentions. I think the drums and the bass are actually mixed pretty well, but you need more elements because right now it's just those two that are kind of playing out, and so like by more elements that can mean a lot. So there's a lot to be like. There's a lot to be what is it called? Determined with that. So you can focus on maybe adding like either a higher octave that's kind of really airy in the background whenever you play. Not every single synth that you have in there, but maybe some of the basses. You can also add a cloud of white noise over the top that's really quiet to help kind of sandwich everything. But whenever, how do I say, like, intro aside, whenever this is kind of playing, it has energy, but it's still feeling kind of empty on the top end. So as far as your intro goes, like really all you need is just like take like a piece of percussion or take like a really short pad or something and then just give it like a ton of reverb and have it swell into something into your first kick. So like and then and then, you know what I mean? You can kind of just have the same kind of intro build, but that kind of like almost begs for it in that way, right? Whenever you listen to this. Just ambience over the top. And you can even like have that kind of dry, but over time, like have some kind of ambient thing that will kind of bleed into getting into that section. But even still... Something else that you can experiment with is it sounds like your hats are chilling in the middle. So maybe what you can do is try to spread those out a little bit. And you can even add in just a little bit of like white noise splashes over the top of that. It's a great implement. I have trouble adding extra elements. You know your stuff, man. And yes, the duck has beef with you all. Shit, that duck don't want none. But having just a little bit of that kind of go over the top, or maybe, you know, just something that's like no, or something like that could be really cool. And then like after it goes, then you can cut it back out and like kind of have it go back being into like dry. I think a really good reference tune that you might want to listen to is what's it called it's from Imanu, but it was when he was Signature. I think that would be a good I think that would be a good reference tune to kind of listen to whenever you're talking about filling up space and all that stuff. And he has a really good use of reverb, of like how he kind of just uses stuff to bleed into those things. But because your drums and your bass are still so up front, if you use those background elements in that way, like it just adds to the ambience as opposed to like having some kind of collision with it. Maybe you can even do like a mid-side EQ or something and kind of push everything to the side, or push the ambience to the side, so that way it still leaves the space for the bass. But yeah, I think that you're definitely on to the right track. I would just kind of focus more so on just filling out the whole frequency range and having something kind of fill in those gaps. Because I know that like I can obviously tell that you don't want to add another rhythmic element on top of it, because for one, it's a jump up tune, even though I think it would work. But I actually like the simplicity of just having that single like kss, 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 kss. That sounds really cool to me, and I don't necessarily know if you want to add in another thing like that or not, or I'm sure that you've at least thought of it. But yeah, like I said, that's really cool. Hopefully some of those suggestions would help you get to the next part for this. Please see link below. Hey Losh. Okay. Hey Bailey, glad you made it. Lex, glad you made it. So Sign was up here, so we're going to play this tune. Sign out. Bitch. No, I'm just kidding. Two, three, four, five, six, seven. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3. God damn it, that's hard to keep. How do I count this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Wow. Okay, right here needs some like, you dumbass, you can't even tell what's happening. My music is way too intelligent for your feeble mind. Behold, round 2. Yeah, that was nuts. All right, so I think that for one, you should make music that is a little bit more stupid, so that way I can tell what the fuck is actually going on. No, I'm just kidding. But I would like to have like a little bit more, maybe one part in this tune that's a little bit more consistent. Not sure if the floor is swallowing me or the beat is 7/8. Yeah, it's in 7/8, and I couldn't identify it. So that's how you know you're doing something good. Because you made it work. But yeah, I think like if you had something that was just a little bit more like one part that was a little bit more consistent in that way, then that would be pretty cool. And then I think like having something right here, like well, you don't need to do the memes. I was just kidding. There is one sound that I hear in here that would be kind of sick. Whoa. 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 But having something kind of like that, like a something like that, like every once in a while, I think would be really sick. It's just an idea that I have because like the beat is really cool, but it does seem kind of empty in that sense. Like most of the interest is coming from just trying to catch it. Maybe 7/8, but can be considered 3/4 fast. But it changed. Okay, I'm not gonna sit here and try to figure that shit out. But yeah, something like that. And then I think that it does need just a little bit more elaboration. And something that could be cool too is actually like, you know, we have been trying to figure out what this is, but maybe even in one section you can have a part that goes 4/4, then 3/4, then 4/4, then 3/4. Because that might be like a really cool like contrasting thing that you can do for a second section in that sense. But I think like maybe like I was talking about having a consistent section, I would put it right here because after this bridge, you just start the beat back up and then you already break it again, which right here, like it's just it's almost like blue balling us because you have this really long break and then you give us just like a hint of a beat and then you take this amount of time to like kind of like cut that. So yeah, it's this is definitely challenging to give advice on. All of the biggest artists of history did that. What? Breaking the beat in time can make it feel like different. What? Anyways. Yeah, so that's probably as good as I can do on this one before my brain actually explodes. But this is really cool, man. I hope that you keep working on this because it's a very interesting tune, and I was definitely engaged the whole way, even though I do think that there's like some instances of emptiness throughout. But yeah, really cool, man. Very original. Where am I? Okay, we did fast forwards. Okay, Meta, you're next. All good, dude. Thank you so much. Yeah, for sure, man. Thanks for submitting. I think you skipped me? Oh shit, are you GGG Bird? I did. I am so sorry. Thank you for bringing that up. I'm sorry. I did not mean to. Sorry, Meta. I'm roasted. Wasted. I have to really not like you to roast you. What key is this in? A minor. Can we listen to that again? I think it's B minor. Hell yeah. Could you guys hear what I was playing? But that's kind of something that I heard over that. Boom, boom, ba-da, boom, boom. The only thing that I would like, this is really freaking cool. The only thing that I would actually say, like production wise, is that for some reason it sounds like you have some kind of low pass filter or something over the entire project. And maybe you meant to do that, but I feel like the tune is really dark. But during that section, I think that would sound really nice. Wait. Cohen sound is better for bake sec. But we're just. Wait, that was you? Yeah, that was me on the guitar. Something kind of like that, right? Wait, let me turn the volume down and let me just play some ideas over this. Yeah, that would be fucking sick. Yeah, I could just put that on loop and just fucking jam on that for a while. But that's really fucking sick in B minor. If you didn't know, your key is in B minor. But that's just an idea that I had to kind of play with that. And I think everything else sounds really good already. But just as far as like a main theme or something, that would sound really nice over that. But yeah, I don't know what you're doing with the top end of that. So maybe make sure that you don't have some kind of low pass filter over all that. But everything else is really fucking sick. But I think that you can take a melody like that and lead that into your bridge, and then really just kind of go back into like that same kind of vibe that you have over that. And Gabriel, I am so sorry that I skipped over you. I really didn't mean to. Apologies, but yeah, this is really sick. Please keep working on it and finish it because I want to hear what it sounds like when it's done. Next sample pack needs to be some dope chill guitar vibes, not gonna lie. Got you, I'll figure it out. Thanks, man. Yeah, for sure. There's, if you go into the Discord sample pack, I've got some guitar stuff in there already. Actually, Zincaso's not here, but he actually took some of the guitar stuff that I had and did the Bronner's Dungeon remix with that. But that's available. I just don't have like the optimal recording environment to do that, and also I can't fucking play in time to save my life, so I usually just play instruments for concepts and then try to and then go back and put it in MIDI. I'm listening in mono and everything but the snare sounded fine. Mixing stuff. But yeah, dude, really cool tune. Okay, Meta, I'm sorry as well. I didn't mean to skip you. Let's go ahead and restart this tune. Sounds like there's a bunch of Kirby sounds in here. Nothing in that description says anything about an acid trip. But I'll take your word for it. I don't really think that you should change the arrangement, to be honest. I think that you should just, like J sharp minor, I think that you should just, how would I describe that? I think that if you just, maybe reformatted some of the bass hits that you have in there, I think that this could actually work because it is really freaking weird, but it does have a flow. I think that some of the screaming stuff that you have in the higher register with the bass, so just kind of make that like go off into obscurity. So like if you're gonna be keen on keeping that, then maybe like blow that up with like specific processing effects, like reverb with a high pass filter, of course, and something else of that nature. But I don't really think that you should change what you do, and I know that you write a bunch of parts out, I think, right? That's how you work, is you do a bunch of parts, and then you like pick your favorite ones, and then you kind of splice that together, if I remember correctly. But I think that for this in particular, I don't imagine not having perfect pitch. But I imagine for this, like I think the arrangement is actually okay. It just needs, I would just clean it up, to be honest. The screaming parts, like the bass themselves are okay, but then when it goes into that higher register and then kind of goes off in La La Land or whatever, that's the only kind of part that I felt like uneasy about the track, which maybe you might want to do. But once you kind of stereo control this bass and then kind of level everything out, I think that like I think you should keep this. I did this all live, 30-minute beat session. Yeah, so maybe just put some of the stuff in time and go back and maybe just clean up some of your bass hits and stuff. But I think that this can actually work in a lot of different ways. Then added the tiny edits fixing. I would also like to hear what that sounds like, that rumbling with a bunch of reverb. And I think that would be really freaking cool as like something that you can use as your transitional sounds. And that might be something that you might want to think about too, of like, maybe there's this, okay, so let's say, like, let's all close our eyes and pretend like we're on an acid trip, right? It starts off kind of like with the Mixolydian vibe of like, oh shit, what's going on? And maybe it kind of takes us through this forest. But then maybe there's this really big reverberated bass sound that sounds like it's big enough to eat us. That's just like, that's in the background. And then maybe that kind of pushes us into that, like, oh, fuck, where the hell are we? And then, you know, everything just kind of goes to shit from there. So, like, you can actually, like, kind of create a story out of this if you can maybe find one more element that's thematic that is in contrast to the lighthearted melody or kind of like the weird trippy melody. But I think that little bass that we just heard right there would be really cool if you took that out, put that to a new track, low pass it, and add a bunch of reverb to it, because I think that would be a really sick thing to kind of like be like an overarching like darkness that kind of fits the aesthetic through the rest of the tune, right? Because like you are playing in between those of it being like really weird, but then also like very like, oh fuck, I'm trippy, I fucked. It was at this moment that he knew he fucked up, right? If that's really like the kind of aesthetic that you're going for. And again, like I've never done acid or anything, or DMT or shrooms, so I don't even know what that's really like. But from, you know, I don't know, let's just say watching something like Super Jail or Alice in Wonderland or whatever, maybe that's something that you can kind of draw from in order to kind of feel or play along those lines of like, it starts kind of wherever and then it gets worse, you know? I also cut some volume low end, kind of. I do weird shit when mix. I had super bassy at first. I mean, yeah, that's fine. That's like kind of your preference, but I'm not really looking forward to giving you mix advice because it's not my thing, other than something being blatant. But yeah, I would keep it, dude. I think this is really cool. Keep working on it. Not bad for a live session. Okay, Loshiki, you are next. Hi, Elk. I've got this bass line and a drum loop, but I have nothing in terms of an intro/bridge. I'm honestly unsure of whether I want this to be the intro or the center point. The idea is solid, but I feel like the motif is missing something. Any ideas? Cheers. Cheers, mother. All my music pretty much psychedelic in some way, but yeah, I hear you on all that. Oh, this is nice. Yo, if you're gonna send me vibey shit, tell me what key it's in. Never mind, I found it. Make it longer. F minor? It doesn't feel like it's F minor. Yeah, this is so nice, man. I think like for what you're trying to do, I think that just I would just make this twice as long. Um, and then maybe just if you can have some kind of electric guitar over this, because I'm playing classical right now, but having some kind of jam over that, and it doesn't need to be anything elaborate like I was doing, but maybe just like, you know, just something like that could be really nice to kind of pull over that. Um, you know who this really reminds me of? Freddie Joaquim. I don't know if you've heard of him or not, but this is definitely Freddie Joaquim vibes. So pretty, dude. Yeah, dude, I really like that. I don't know if you heard any of the guitar stuff that I was playing over that, but that's kind of the vibe that I get from that. And really, that would be the only thing that I could consider maybe adding to that. But kind of like what I was talking about with Ocelot, like I think that having some kind of like just a little bit of interpretation or maybe a melody or something over that would be the only thing that really needs. But this was, your guitar playing was lovely. Thanks, dude. Yeah, this was sick. I'm sorry that doesn't really like answer your question, but I think that like just having the chords by themselves would do a whole lot for the track, like as far as your bridge goes. And then if you can put in maybe like an easy saxophone or something, that would be. Lex, I used to do that, and then I lost all my viewers, and so I stopped doing it. But I think that I think the center point that you have for this main idea should be that. But I mean, is there something like, is there a direction that you want to take that in, or like, or what? Because that would really depict what I would try to tell you, or where I would try to point you with that direction. But really, like this loop is, I don't think that I would do anything different. I think that it's fine, actually, just the way that it is. But I just heard some nice, easy, easygoing melodies over the top. If you have an electric guitar and you can play, you said it's an F minor, but I was playing in, hold on, F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, B. I was playing in C minor. What? Why? It actually sucks. I'd watch. I don't know. It's just the way it is. But yeah, I was playing in C minor, and that seemed to work really well with this tune. So if you have access to an electric guitar and you want to play something like that over the top, I think that you could do just as well, if not better, because you have the feel. So yeah, man, I'm sorry I don't have a whole lot else to say about that, but like this is, if you were to extend this, I think that it would be done. Other than make it louder. Nice tune, dude. Hey, this is halfway done. Maybe just some ideas for the other half. My better half. That's my idea. That's probably what I would go for, because I think that that kind of already ends up putting that in a perfect position for that. And I think that for this section in particular as well is I would open, like keep the Reese open, and then once you maybe get to this part, like pull it back with a low pass filter or something to kind of allow more space for your saw pads, chords, melody thing, whatever you want to call that. Yeah, make big bass noise go brrr. But that's kind of what that kind of leads into in that way. Or what you can even do is maybe, I really like this melody that you have. Wait, where is it? So like you can even take that, the and then maybe elaborate on that musically if you want. But you have a lot of ideas that you can pull over into the next section. But for me personally, I would go into the heavy bass thing, or I would go into that little melody that you have right there and maybe find some more elaborations with that. And then go into the heavy bass part. But I think that, yeah, one thing that I would consider too is that your clap is really dry, and so it doesn't really quite fit the aesthetic that you're pulling on this, because it's like clap. It sounds like you're punching a turtle in the throat or something. Sorry, I just said that to try to be funny. It doesn't sound like that, but giving that a little bit of space and maybe turning it down a little bit too could be kind of nice. But I definitely think that you need some kind of layer that reverbs out in that way. Yeah, I really like this though. It has really good vibes, but I think that's what I would do. I would maybe go into the like with the heavy swing as opposed to dun 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 dun. But I think that would kind of go and fit the aesthetic that you've kind of created here, because some of your drums are pretty. Actually, your drums are pretty swung. So yeah. Delete all your wait, what? It's from 2013, but the videos are posted recently. I think it was stolen. They seriously hack channels, delete all your content, rebrand, and start uploading trendy shit for millions of views. It's nuts. YouTube does nothing. It's a link they use that if you click, it steals your Google creds. Well, shit. Hopefully that doesn't happen. Haven't gone viral yet either, so I guess it doesn't really matter. Actually, I don't think I ever will go viral, so whatever. If somebody were to steal my YouTube channel and delete all my content, then yeah, it would suck. I would never wish it, but yeah, that's what I have for that Zebra. That was really cool, man. I'm sorry I don't have more to say on the subject, but I think that that's a lot of stuff. Needs more clickbait and thumbnail titles. Clickbait thumbnails and titles. Okay. I just mentioned all this because we're all on YouTube, obviously, and our music is pretty important. Yeah, that would be fucked. Just means that everybody has to do private lessons. I turned Minecraft into Neurobase. I know I do some clickbait, but I haven't done something like that before. Shocked Alchemy face. I do the shocked Alchemy things. I do that sometimes, but it doesn't work for me. That doesn't really attract views. I think like the stuff that I do is so abstract that nobody gives a shit, but the people that like stumble upon it are like, oh, that's kind of interesting. So that's just what it is. Lex, you're next. Not remotely done yet, but so far this is what I have. No plan for it beyond this. Just mess around and see what happens. Any thoughts or appreciate ideas? Go on. Baron Ham, bro. Dude, yes. Fuck. Yes. This is what I've been talking about for the last 6 months with you. Yes. Finally. This is what you've been missing from arrangement. Yes. Sorry. Lex and I are about to have a moment. This is what I've been talking about. This is the arrangement stuff that I'm like, once you figure out how to do it, it's going to be way easier for you to finish tunes. But let's talk about what you did. You had the intro, you only had a couple of elements, you had a nice build, and then when you got to the main section, or at least this far in the tune, you just focused on the bass aspect of this. That's good. Then the music! Yes! Yes! Finally! Okay. That was dope. So you broke, I would take more time to just have some consistency here because you broke the song very early in the tune. Like it started off really strong, and I kind of just wanted to hear that kind of go a little bit more before you got into this part. I would have made this twice as long and started to introduce this with maybe an impact of the something like that to introduce this part, because this part doesn't really connect in that sense. And then also you also still have this habit of the shakers, right? So like when you have this elaboration, like I would take parts away, I would take the shaker away in certain cases to not have that just playing, because that way you're going to have a really dynamic tune. But if you listen to this, you don't need all that other background shit. Put that synth right smack dab in the middle and let that rip. And then whenever you get into the beat breaking part with the bump, with the bump, with the psh, then add the shaker, because that's going to have a really nice contrast in that way. And I think what might also be kind of cool is like you have this like I think that if you like had that in the sides that kind of had like a wave or something while that's playing, just during this part of the song in particular, that would be really sick if you kind of had that as a mid side, so where like it was both panned out way the fuck far to the side, so where the synth is still in the middle. But yeah, so like the thing is like you go into the musical part, which is great, but then you let it go. And so what you need to do is find a way to kind of maybe continue the music, but then slowly lead it into this. So like the transition needs to be a little bit smoother in between. But this is a huge step in the right direction between what you're trying to do. So big ups on that. Very, very proud of you for how far you come in that way. But this song structure, I'm not saying keep it for the rest of your production, you know what I mean, journey. But this is an excellent starting point to try to figure out how to connect all the ideas that you have, because most of the time whenever you send music to me, you have a lot of these like musical ideas. Your music has a lot of elements, a lot of tracks in them, or a lot of different sounds, but they're arranged in such a way that it's super like it's all just jumbled together. So you can easily, kind of like how you did here, spread your content out and make your tunes actually longer by taking turns and fleshing out a structure in that way of saying, okay, well, in this part, I'm only going to play this part, and this part, I'm only going to play this part, as opposed to everything all at once and then just go, right? So big ups on that, dude. This is a big step in the right direction. This was, for the most part, almost exactly what I've been giving you advice on for the past 6 months. Bailey, you're next. ADHD kind of way. That's fine. Put all the things together, but then spread them out. You know, put everything together and then like compartmentalize them, if that's a word. I think that's a word. But yeah, compartmentalize them into like, okay, this part's only gonna have this, and then it's gonna. So this took me 5 hours just to the force 30 seconds, dude. That's not really that bad if you think about it. That's usually about the amount of time that I spend on a single section too, and it's usually like 30 seconds. So that's just music. Music doesn't happen, like tracks don't happen overnight. They shouldn't happen overnight. I know people, actually, I know Frequent. He showed me a tune when I was doing lessons with him that he was working on for like 2 years for a what, 5 minute song. So that really puts things into perspective. All right, Bailey, hello Bailey. Hopefully you're well. Let's listen to Bailey. Spoopy. This is really cool. And it's cool to see you stepping outside of what you usually do. I will say that your drums are kind of fucked. They're literally like broken in some ways. Your snares kind of sounds like a skirt skirt, which is okay. You can do that, but it doesn't quite fit the aesthetic that you're going for here. Maybe what you can do is keep that snare that you have, high pass it, and see if you can just layer like a really simple, really small, what's it called? Rim shot. Just something that has a little bit more of a tonal aspect to it. And then when you have that, you can actually do something to where like it's a quick delay of both sides, so that way you actually get some stereo in there, like a crack, something kind of like that. Oh, it was a weird effect that you time stretched. Yeah, it doesn't like. I think that it needs a fundamental personally, and then I also would take away the both part of the kick, just have like the transient aspect of it because it kind of bleeds over into the other stuff. The other thing too is like you do a key change right here, and it doesn't really make sense why you do that. I would maybe go into something rhythmic instead. Yeah, so once you get into that part, like what you can even do is you got that really cool shuffle fill right there, the tucka tucka. Maybe you can take that and like put that into a vocoder or something, and then keep the same key, and then do something into like a tump dump 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 bump 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 whoop. Something like that could be kind of cool. But if you're going to do this key change, like I would give it a little bit more time to transition and like give it a reason to go there as opposed to the kind of there, because right now it just kind of it threw me off for the rest of the tune. But the aesthetic of this is really nice, and I really I think you did a really good job of like pulling everything up front, because that's not something that you normally do. So, was there anything else I wanted to say about this tune? I kind of feel like this should be twice as long as well, and this should be your second section, because it is a switch up, but I want to hear this again personally, and it won't double your content, but it will make it 1.5 times longer, because this is pretty much like the main idea of the section. But the boom bum bum bum, I really want to hear that for a second thing. And maybe what you can do is kind of like play that again, but play it clean. And then I think it would be cool if like you played that clean, but every once in a while you had a neuro fill, because like you had a really cool fill over here somewhere. Yeah, so maybe like you play that again, and then when you get to this part, it goes and then it goes into this part that I think would be really cool. And maybe what you can even do too is like you can take a little bit more time on this transition right here. And maybe that's why that feels different, is because what it looks like you did was you took a 2-bar fill. So you had 16 bars and then took a 2-bar fill, and it was like, whoa, wait, what? And then, but when it goes into this, maybe you can even double this as like a 4-bar fill or something to the, and then that will kind of lead into this part a little bit smoother. Or as opposed to having like the drums go and then the bass come in late, you can have the bass come in first and then bring the drums in. So you can go dum dum pop pop pop, something like that. But I don't know, that transition is kind of weird for me. Yeah, and then when it goes even lower, it's like, wait, what? But yeah, dude, this is really cool. I'm sorry I made you wait so long to get that feedback, but really cool stuff, dude. Okay. 2 tokes. I only do one submission at a time. Or is this a different thing? But we'll do JS and then we'll probably call it a night. You're welcome, dude. Thank you for submitting. Hey, if you have time, struggling to take the sleep anywhere. All right, this was really cool. So what I think is right here, what I would do is I would take away everything else and then just focus on the bass and the boop, 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 boop. That's that piss in the elevator. What? Huh? You want to make it a bit heavier, but no ideas for it? Okay, hold on. Let me think about this. So what I would do is use this as your intro, right? And then what I would do is have like a white noise sweep. That's like, and what you would do is over time you would start to make the because that's kind of the theme of your tune. Like reverb it out and then start to introduce like a bigger, how do you say, like a bigger reverb and then another like white noise sweep. And then what you would do is as that starts to build up over time, then you pull out all the other elements of this, you bring the drums back, and then you create a bass line that is in conjunction with playing along with that rhythm that you have. So like, so the boom, 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 but that's how you would get into that. But I would also maybe consider that like when this first comes in is like don't have your drums as heavy, and then when the main section comes in, that's when you can start to create that bass line. And then whenever that main section is done, then you can just bring the chords back. Fire beat, you got pissing in the elevator. No, no, I've never heard of that before. But yeah, that's probably what I would do for this tune if you want to make it heavier. So, you know, just get yourself a nice little ring modded or, you know, or a neuro bass or something, or maybe even a different bass, maybe like a square bass that's just a heavy 808 or something. And I think that would work pretty easily, but you've already done the legwork. You should send that to A. McCree. Trap Tendo. Oh, wait, that's somebody different. Wait, is it? I don't remember. There's a lot of YouTube people, you know. But yeah, that's what I would do if you want to make that heavier. I think you've already got like the main stuff for this except for that heavy bass, but that's a perfect way for you to kind of get into that idea. It's just a saying when it's a banger. Okay, fair enough. I had never heard it before, but I won't argue with it. Um, Good advice, thanks, man. Yeah, for sure, dude. That's pretty much all I could say if that's what you want to do to make it heavier. Um, yeah, cool. Okay, well, I think that's everybody. We had a dope 2 hours of streaming. Lots of lots of really good submissions today and stuff. Hopefully, you guys had some nice ideas and inspiration for your tunas. Think I'm gonna chill, drink some water, let my dogs out, maybe play some Monster Hunter. If you guys want to support the channel, maybe consider becoming a member or not. It's totally fine. Or buy something off the website. But yeah, thank you guys. Much love to everybody. And I guess I'll see you next Thursday. Or I'll actually see you tomorrow because I'll be doing production. Bye, everybody. Much love. Thank you for the submissions. Peace out. Peace out.